Welcome to Eureka. This program is dedicated to heroes who have built India, who are still building India through science and technology. These are the heroes who have excelled in their own field, who have contributed to scientific area. Today, we have Dr. Ram Vishwakarma, Director of Indian Institute of Integrative Medicine.
Our primary objective is to look for the science of the biodiversity of Western Himalaya. Bringing the best of the science, modern science, into looking into this very important natural resource, which includes the plant microbial biodiversity, which is very unique in Jammu and Kashmir. This science, we are very seriously engaged with the local economy, because this state is a state, basically herbal state.
You have excelled, that everybody knows, at least in the field of science. You have been recognized by the nation. You have been given responsibilities that are extremely important. You have served many organizations across the country. Let's begin our discussion by posing the question that what is going to be the future of science in India?
Well, the way I look at it, future of India, the future of India itself is linked and dependent on the way science moves in this country. And if you look at the progress of this country.
Are you saying that science is the basis on which nations can be built? Other things contribute to building science, and if they don't contribute to building science, then country is not going to develop.
Absolutely, I agree with that, because this is something which continue to give new ideas, new frontiers for a nation to progress, and source of imagination for younger generation to think bigger, think about astronomy, think about creating materials, think about discovering new drugs, think about addressing problems of the poverty, problems of agriculture productivity. So, I think whatever we have in our what we call progress is very directly linked with the way we progress in science.
See, that brings me to another question, and which is simple but very interesting, that once you have built the basic scientific infrastructure as was conceived by our forefathers, then if you do not perform well, what kind of corrective measures should be taken?
Well, we have to be
this question is embedded in the concern that there are institutions which have done significantly well. There are areas where we stand shoulder to shoulder with international community. There are areas where we have not performed very well.
My thinking is that much of what we interpret as far as success or failure of scientific enterprise is driven by the very high level of expectations. So, today our expectations have gone up tremendously, and many times by the very nature of science is such that some area are slow to progress, some area demands more investment, some area you can move faster, some area you move slower. So, when we analyze progress of Indian science, I personally feel very proud with the very short span of, you have to always compare the progress that this country has achieved in a very short period of time vis-a-vis the progress that has been made in Europe and America. So, I think our achievement.
Yeah, their history of carrying out modern science is spread over 300 years.
300 years.
Almost.
Absolutely.
And we started off much later, and we were subjugated during that period. So, we couldn't do best of the science, yet we produced Nobel laureate during that period.
So, I believe that instead of being sort of pessimistic about what we have done, if we really analyze that what we have done, that we have built a very solid foundation for a great nation to come. And as you can see, the progress in space, energy, other areas, agriculture, medical science, so all these, if you analyze these progress, I think we are building a very solid foundation of a nation which is self-sufficient, a nation not only does science for itself, a nation which will do science for the globe. That's what my belief.
Are you concerned about the younger generation not getting attracted towards science as much as it used to get attracted in 60s and 70s? The times have changed. Will it impact our scientific
short
endeavor?
term it may look like a concern, but to me, I don't agree with that proposition, because the way social progress has happened in India, the attraction of every generation that has come is driven by factors. And I think as our country gets more and more richer, more and more developed, you will see that interest in science, literature, theatre, poetry, all these things which happens in a developed country will start happening. That's what my belief.
I am a firm believer that anybody who is doing science is not driven by really the position that he is likely to get or the money he or she is likely to get. It is an urge to know things, it is an urge to discover things, it is an urge to scrutinize the nature and laws of nature. So, I am a believer that the best of the mind will keep coming to science anyway. But there is a concern that there are bright young boys and girls who are now getting into management, which has become much more lucrative. They are getting into medicine or engineering, but not pure sciences. You are a man of pure science and technology. Do you think that the quality of the researchers that are coming to your institute has gone down, or it has
So, my observation is quite the reverse, if I say that the kind of students that we are getting in science now, sometime I myself analyze that perhaps our teaching, our capability to mentor them is less deficient to compare to the caliber these younger people have. So, I think there is some kind of mismatch in terms of the teaching methods that we are applying today, and once this teaching methodology and mentorship is provided to these younger generation, I think we have very talented pool in this country, and this is far and wide, not only restricted to metro. I think a lot of scientific talent comes from the far and wide of this great nation.
We will continue the discussion. I have to take a break. Don't go anywhere, we are coming back. Welcome back to Eureka. Today we are discussing in Eureka with Dr. Ram Vishwakarma what is going to be the future of science in the country, which is extremely important in this competitive world. Some people are saying that we are lagging behind China, but you are very confident that the quality of students that is coming is far better than even those who are of our generation or older generation. Now, you have excelled in the area of chemistry, and that has been your specialization. How do you compare working at NII and CSIR? CSIR is a very large organization, much older organization as compared to NII. How do you compare them? You also have experience of working with the corporate sector. How do you compare the three?
Yeah, I mean, all three presents you very unique opportunities and unique challenges. So, I have been very fortunate to work in a pure science institute, National Institute of Immunology. Then I moved to Bombay to work in a corporate R&D center, and then I am in a CSIR working in one of the most beautiful and remarkable state of our country. And I think all three experience are I must consider that I am fortunate to have that. And the difference is that when I was working in NII, I was free to pursue my individual pursuit and question that I can follow. And as I must say that this great country of ours provided the first world facility to follow whatever we wanted to do.
And you were a free bird to pursue whatever you wanted.
Free bird to pursue. Then there was a transition to say where I am right now. And the difference that I see that that kind of environment provides you opportunity to keep on doing good things at a static level. But the CSIR provide you a very unique thing, which to me no other organization other than a strategic sector provide you, is that you can scale things, which is not possible to do in National Institute of Immunology or ISC Bangalore and other premier
what
institutions.
What you are saying is that right from the inception of a problem to cracking the problem and then making it useful for the society, the whole chain is followed by CSIR. That kind of organization, Council of Scientific Research, Industrial Research is, right.
Like today I work with large number of people in Kashmir Valley, I work with people in Ladakh and Jammu region.
Very difficult region, very disturbed region. What are your impressions of working as a scientist there?
I must tell you that you see the most beautiful aspect of science when you work in these areas. The first thing you see, the hunger for the knowledge among younger generation in these areas. I have never met more intelligent people than I have met in Ladakh and Srinagar and Jammu, whose quest for science is so high, and I think we must tap that. The second thing that I see, that the impact, even the low level science impact that can make in the quality of lives people, their cultural life, their societal life, is huge opportunity for SNT, and I think that is where I realize the real value of the vision of the leaders of CSIR or ICR organizations, that they could thought through in very early days, and I think we are now beginning to make the real advantage of that situation.
So we need to pay at every step homage to people like Dr. Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar, Homi Jahangir Bhabha, Sir C.V. Raman, and many others who have built this structure where our younger generation can excel. You were saying that there are large number of students who are being trained, and we are also marketing the technology. Your institute is marketing the technologies. Now, how are students feeling when they are pressurized to work in this kind of atmosphere, where they have to deliver? The students have to deliver, and anything they deliver has a direct impact on society.
Yeah, I think I will analyze this in this way, that if you ignite the passion of a student, that the work that you are doing will have some practical impact either on the wealth creation or job creation or somebody's life, if somehow we can put that thought in students' mind, I think then that message is so powerful, that this feeling of being pressurized at what I am doing, and in fact they become more exciting and energetic to really contribute to this cause. And we have to make a balance between their scientific quest and the translation that comes. So the teams that we create in the organizations have a different kind of balance, so that everybody feels comfortable what they are doing.
In other words, what you are saying is that once the leadership is provided, once the purpose in life is provided, once they know that their research is going to be useful, then it becomes like khud raah bana lega behta hua pani hai. Now, CSIR has switched over from only doing research to providing also PhD. How does this switch over work in your laboratory?
I would say that this decision to create Academy of CSIR will prove to be one of the fundamental positive change that has occurred in CSIR in many years to come. Value of this decision will be realized very soon, and I can see, I personally felt including my own career when I was doing my PhD in a CSIR institute. And
yes, you started your
amount
career
of pain that I had to go through personally for things which were not that important at that point of the time, and how much time my students now we have our own academy, and another value that we have added, that due to this academy now we are venturing into frontiers of interface of discipline. Now, so I can give PhD now in chemical biology,
right,
or chemical ecology. Now, these disciplines are not in the parlance of the typical university system. So, I think that is the paradigm shift that has happened, and CSIR is in a position to leverage that, because most of our problems are at the interface of discipline, either material science or chemical science or biological science.
Which also means that CSIR will also undergo a change, maybe cultural change over a period of time, when a large number of younger students join in. And in future, a very large number of students from the universities, those who have excelled, will come to CSIR, and it's become a place for joining in. In this kind of scenario, do you expect a cultural change also within the scientific community that is there in CSIR?
I see cultural change in two directions.
They will be challenged on everyday basis by the young students.
And these are positive challenges.
Yes.
So, one major change that I see, that I believe that good quality teaching is absolutely necessary for good quality research. So, now we are at the same time we are professors and we are scientists. So, I think many of us, our colleagues, now have to go back and also learn how to become good teacher, and I think that will, I believe that will impact significantly the quality of research that they do. That is one thing will happen. Second thing, once they get into teaching and mentoring students, I think they will then start building bridge with our IITs and our other institutions of national importance. So, I think I foresee that the academic exchange between center of learning outside CSIR and within CSIR, this bridge will get stronger and stronger.
See, I was going through the papers that you have published personally. It's a long list, about 200 papers. 200 papers is a lot. I know publishing in good journals, highly cited journals, 200 papers is very large number. You've got patents, a large number once again. Now, in this kind of situation where you were highly productive, your responsibilities as director of CSIR laboratory, have they become a hindrance in doing research, or you think that you are now inspiring your younger generation at a much faster rate because of your contribution to personal contribution?
I think this responsibility as a director provides me two unique opportunities, that this position allows me to think of the projects which are not possible for individual scientific capacity, projects of social importance, the kind of project that I am doing in Jammu and Kashmir. I would have never imagined that I would be able to do those. The second opportunity that this provides is to impart the learning that I have gone through while working in Cambridge or industry or academic institution to new set of, because my personal aim is that India must start discovering novel drugs. We are now reached this stage that India must discover its own drug, which we have not done so far for global market. And my belief is, and that is the transition that I took from industry, leaving a very lucrative position to take up this position, that was my dream, that let us put our best effort to create an ecosystem that India start discovering its own drug, which are acceptable in global regulatory system. So, I think those kind of footprints this position allows me to establish, and that is why mission in the IIIM Jammu and Srinagar.
India should have its own drugs which should be acceptable in the global market. We will continue the discussion, but only after a break. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Eureka. We have a fascinating personality, Dr. Vishwakarma, director of one of the premier institutes of Council of Scientific and Industrial Research. We were discussing that India should develop its own drug. India should also develop its own rockets. India should also develop its own technologies in almost every area of science. Let me take you back to memory lanes. Who inspired you to do chemistry?
Well, my inspiration of chemistry is that when I was a child, I was not lucky enough. I grew up in a poor family, so I didn't have tools to play. I didn't have my son the kind of toys that he enjoyed. I didn't have any toy to play with. So I used to play with whatever is around a child, playing with mud or playing with some broken equipments, and that is where I developed this excitement that there is something very mysterious in natural processes. And then of course, because of my father was a teacher, I used to get some books through his schools and libraries, and my interest got developed in how things are made up of.
So father was your role model.
He's my role model.
And how about the school?
Well, early school was normal. I mean, they gave the basic decent education that you start.
Did you have a good chemistry teacher?
I don't remember any of those. Actually, my fascination for high quality chemistry actually started in Cambridge, to tell you very honestly. When I got opportunity to go and work with a very leading authority in the university.
How did you go to Cambridge?
That's a thanks to my country and my the scientific ecosystem, that when I finished my PhD from Central Drug Research Institute, Lucknow, then there is this scheme of DST, Department of Science and Technology, called Boy Scouts Fellowship.
Right.
Where they select certain number of individuals and they send them for a couple of years in best of the laboratories of the world. And I think that was the one which I was very lucky to be.
That was the turning point
that I got to go to where I wanted to go. So I went to a lab which was at the interface of chemistry and biology. This lab was discovering the biosynthetic pathway of vitamin B12, and this was a frontier problem, and 2 years of that period in the vicinity of the best of the minds, I think put that love and sort of opportunities for chemistry and interface of chemistry and biology, and I think that was the turning point, that I got excited. I could meet people like Max Peruz, or people who discovered DNA structure, or people who discovered protein structures. So that was the opportunity.
And this cultural shift in your life, which brought you in contact with the best of the minds in the world, gave you excitement to pursue high quality science, which brings me to another issue, that a person from humble background like you and me are acceptable in science, like a human being.
At the highest of the places.
At the highest of the places.
So I was at the best university of the world.
Absolutely. Which other structures do not offer. You have to be probably belonging to a certain caste, clergy, blood, or some kind of family to excel. But science offers you to excel even if you are from very humble, poor background and from a probably remote part of the country. Is this difference between science and other forms of social structures trouble you?
Not really. I look at entirely differently. When I got this opportunity to work in the best place in the world, the idea came to my mind that I must go back to my country and do this best there. So that something is very important, that this is a great country. I always believe very passionately that such a poor country give you first world facility. I don't think there is any country in the globe which is so generous to scientific research like India. I can make this statement with full confidence, despite all the cynicism and all that. So the passion that this great country, what is unique about this country, which people like us give you that platform and offer you that opportunity. So I think that commitment, what I learned for this country, that this is the call that we have to take. I had an offer from MIT and I could have very well moved to MIT at that time. Right. But my professor told me that you have come here, now you have learned, and I think it's time for you to go back and contribute to your country. And I think that decision was the best decision that I took. The second best decision I took to come to Jammu and Kashmir. Despite all the apprehension, leaving a cushy job in Mumbai, living a comfortable life, well paid life.
As I was saying, that scientists don't work for money.
No, we don't. And more challenges are there. The science, one thing science teaches, the bigger are the question and bigger are the challenges, more energy that you get. Where you get this energy, I have no idea.
I can imagine you working in your laboratory and generally talking to younger generation and inspiring them. This has been a very inspiring talk with you. I would have loved to continue, but the time doesn't permit. We'll come back with as fascinating a personality next week. Keep watching Eureka week after week.